Dear Mom and Dad, thank you for loving all of me. Mom, you spent hours looking at me in the hospital when I was born, having conversations, loving me, telling me stories. We bonded so much in those first few days. Dad, when all the doctors were stressing out and wanting to do different tests on me because they weren't sure what was wrong with me, you got to step in and do all of my first initial newborn reflex tests. And you got to check my feet and check my grab, and you realized that I was fine. And I think you and Mom were the first people to really say that out loud. A few months after I was born, you met with a doctor and a surgeon who basically told you that they were going to do surgery on my arm. They were going to cut down the middle here, saw through the bone, so I would have a claw-like structure to help me grasp things. And it was at that point that you both decided no. You said that the doctors and the surgeon were talking about the surgery as if you weren't even there, and that I was this little thing to be fixed. And it was at that moment that you knew that surgery was not the answer. It was not going to be helping me. And because of you, I didn't have to go through a surgery that I couldn't consent to and could have probably given me nerve damage and other long-term effects that we don't really even know. I think at that moment you realized that you knew better than the doctors. You knew what your little human needed, and it was not surgery. Dad, when I was in my crib, you put together this mobile over top of my crib, and you wanted to make sure that I developed fully on both sides of my body. You tied a string to the mobile and down onto my shirt, onto my stump side, so when I pulled on it, the mobile would move. And you did that so I realized that I had another limb other than my right one that I could move. And I don't really know what that did or didn't do, but I just appreciate you so much for taking the time and effort. I'm just so thankful that you were trying things like that and thinking about my needs and thinking about how I was developing and just kind of going for it. So thank you. Mom, you tailored or sewed all of my clothes to make sure that my left sleeve wasn't dragging in the mud or getting caught and stuff. I remember there were some things that I couldn't hand down to my sister or to friends because all the sleeves were such different lengths. But that was really awesome. Because even to this day, like I can't buy clothes that fit me perfectly, and it was so nice to have things tailor-made to my body. So thank you for taking the time to do that and help me feel even more comfortable in my own skin. Dad, you fashioned a prosthetic situation for my bike where it would stick out a little bit and I could hold on to it. When I had it, I was trying to ride it and I couldn't turn because it was sticking out so much, and so you eventually just took off your manufactured thing and I just took off, and in 3 tries I was riding a bike. The fact that you were trying again to figure out something that would work for me so I could have access to all the same cool things that other kids got to do was so wonderful. And to both of you, thank you for letting me find my own way through. Thank you for letting me struggle a little bit longer and try different things my way before swooping in and doing them for me. That was probably the greatest thing you could have ever done. Letting me be in charge of my own body, figuring out stuff in my own time and in my own way. You took me to CHAMP seminars to meet other kids like me, to give me a community where I could feel like I wasn't the odd one out and I could meet other people and find new friends and have adventures. And the self-confidence I had because of those was incredible. And thanks for bringing Ainsley, my sister, and for being okay with the fact that she would pretend that she was missing a foot just so she could ride on the CHAMP's float in the parade with me. Oh my gosh. You would play school with me and let me practice answering questions from the other kids on the first day of school. So when I walked into a new scenario or my first day of kindergarten, I was prepared. I knew how to talk about my arm. I knew how to talk about my limb difference. And I knew how to tell the difference between a mean question and a kind question, where most of them were just curiosity questions, just wanting to understand what this is all about. And so you helped me find a vocabulary to talk about myself and to be confident to share my story with others. That was so helpful. Thank you. Ainsley, my little sister, thank you for naming my arm. When I was little, she named my arm Bebe. She was trying to say baby hand, but she couldn't because she was so little. From then on, I had a personality for my arm, Bebe. And sometimes Biggie, this hand, would come into play, and we would put on puppet shows for each other, and I would make her laugh and we would play. And that alone from such a young age helped me to integrate and love and appreciate and become more aware of my arm. And it was a beautiful way to become more in my body, more in love with my body, and just feel completely and unconditionally accepted and loved for exactly how I am. Because I deserve that, and we all deserve that. You support my Stump Kitchen work like nobody's business. And now in my adult years, you come to the Lucky Finn Project weekend with me, and you work tirelessly for hours helping me with my crafts and engaging with the kids and talking to other parents. It's absolutely incredible. You are such beautiful supports. You always expect that I can do things versus assuming I can't. I remember we were at the Fringe Festival and Mom, you handed me a 20 and said, go grab drinks for the table, and there was like 6 people or whatever, and I was like, okay. And I did. And I was coming back and I was really balancing everything, just kind of hanging on for dear life with these drinks. And you just looked at me and you were just like, oh no, what did I ask you to do? But I did it and it was fine, and it was really funny. And you're like, yeah, you can do this. So I don't know. Thank you for having a wonderful sense of humor. To all of the other parents who have been asked by your doctor if you want to have an abortion because they found a limb difference on the ultrasound and you said no, thank you. I am pro-choice. I believe that parents and women have the right to access abortion if that's what they need to do. But if the only reason is due to a limb difference and nothing else, I have a big problem with that. It scrapes at the very essence of my being. We have a lot of work to do to fix a very broken system. I know that when I was born, it was a shock to you both that I had one hand, and you must have been scared and nervous and worried about what might be wrong. I know that the doctors took me away and wanted to do all these tests to make sure that I wasn't dying or whatever. Maybe you were worried about how I would do things, how my life would be, how others would perceive me, for what the world would be like for me or do to me. Would I fit in? Would I be okay? All of that is so normal. To all new parents of kids with limb differences, it's okay to feel worried or scared. It's also okay to feel grief. Grief is normal because we're given this image of what our babies are going to be like when they're born. 10 fingers, 10 toes. It's just one version of how we can be in the world. There are so many beautiful ways that we can be in the world. What if we start changing the narrative? What if we start changing the images that we hold in our hearts for what's possible? What if we start changing the story so that when our babies are born, missing a hand or a foot or all their limbs, or in any way that dominant culture doesn't view as normal, let's celebrate it. When we change the conversation, when we share our experiences more, we start to inject more life and space into all of the amazing and beautiful possibilities there are for our human lives on this planet. There are so many ways to be, and they are all good. We can all change the narrative together so that when a baby is born missing a limb, there is no grief, there is no fear, there is no anger. There is just joy and pure celebration. So to my mom and dad, I want to thank you both for changing the narrative. You've been doing it my entire life, and I'm so, so grateful. And to all of you new parents out there, your kid will be okay.